Hi, I'm with Badger Basket, here to go through the assembly instructions for the 2-bin stackable storage cubby. Before we get started, make sure you look at all the pieces included. If you're missing anything or have any damaged parts, please contact Badger Basket as shown in the end of the instructional video. So let's get started. For step 1, you need part G, the bottom, part B, the middle, part A, the right. You will need 4 of the I screws and 4 of the L plastic inserts. So first what we're going to be doing is attaching the right side and the middle to the bottom board. When you look at the bottom board, I'm going to tip this up here so you can see. I'm going to start on the one side that has the 6 screw holes and the groove. This is where the boards are going to be coming off from. So we're going to be screwing from the underside to keep those boards into place. Now I'm first going to start with this right side here. Now the right side also has this groove. Now it's really important that these grooves align so that when you put the backing in, the backing can go right into these grooves and slide continuously. So before you completely tighten any of these boards onto the bottom, make sure that these grooves are lined up, then tighten the screws, because we want these grooves to be continuous. Now you're also going to see these larger holes here. These are where you're going to be putting into those plastic barrel nuts, which is going to help hold those screws into place. Now when looking at the barrel nuts, you're going to see one side has the Phillips head screwdriver marking on it. This is so you can turn them if you need to, because it's important that you have this hole open to where the screw goes into so that it helps hold it into place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these both in here, into these bottom pieces here. Making sure, again, I have this Phillips head marking facing upwards so I can turn them if I need to. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to align these 2 screw holes here to the 2 on the bottom board here. Again, making sure that that groove is continuous before I completely tighten it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip up this bottom board here so I can get to the underside to screw underneath. And I'm going to align this here like so. I'm going to be putting 2 screws through the bottom, through the holes to help hold these into place. Now if the screws are not going in nicely, it means that these barrel nuts are not aligned properly. Then you need to take a Phillips head screwdriver, turn them slightly until you can get the screws to go through them. Now for this demonstration I am going to be using a drill. If you choose to use a drill, make sure you have the torque setting set on low so you don't strip any of the pieces. Otherwise, feel free to use a hand Phillips screwdriver. So I'm going to tighten these 2 pieces up into 2 screws into place. Next what we're going to do is put in the middle board. So this middle board is going to be kind of the same concept where we're going to be putting in the 2 barrel nuts to hold the screws from the underside going through the bottom to hold this board into place. Now if you look at this board, you're going to see a long end and then a shorter end. The shorter end needs to go towards this bottom board. So when we're putting it on, we'll want the shorter end to be facing towards the bottom here, and then we're going to screw from the underside to hold this middle board into place. But first, again, remember to put in these barrel nuts. And then put these screws from the underside through this middle board. For step 2, you need part C, the left side, part E, the front. You need 4 of the I screws, 4 of the plastic barrel nuts, and 2 of the wooden pegs. Next what we're going to be doing is putting on the front onto the cubbies here. Now looking at this front piece, you're going to see one side that has these places for the barrel nuts. So we're going to have to put these barrel nuts in here, which means a screw is going to be coming in from this side to hold it into place. Now there's also another hole down here. This is going to be meant for a wooden peg. Now this wooden peg is going to be going into this right side that we put into place first. So we're going to put the wooden peg down here and connect it to this bottom piece here. The top one right here is where we'll screw in from the side through that barrel nut that we're going to be putting there. So make sure you do this part first before you put on the left side, because this has to go in between the right and the left. So let's first put in this plastic barrel nut, making sure you have the whole opening going this way so that the screw can go right through it. I'm going to put in the wooden peg into this bottom hole here. We're going to insert that wooden peg into the bottom hole on the right side, and then we're going to screw from this on the outside of the right through into the front panel here. So next what we're going to be doing is putting on this left panel. Kind of the same as we did on the right side. You need to put that wooden peg in the bottom hole. We're going to be screwing in through the left side into the top into a plastic barrel nut. We're also going to have the two plastic barrel nuts going into the bottom of the left side, which is going to be then screwed from the underside going up. Again, remember this groove needs to be continuous from the bottom to the top, so make sure that this groove aligns nicely with this groove in the bottom panel before you tighten those bottom screws. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these plastic barrel nuts into all the places that need them. So one in the front, and then two on the left panel here. Then next we're going to put the wooden peg into this bottom hole here on this front. We're going to put that wooden peg into this bottom hole on the left panel like so. Then what we can do is we can screw from this side into the front from through the left side, and then get the two screws through the bottom to hold this left panel into place. For step 3, you need part F, the back, part D, the front trim, and 3 of the K screws. For this step, what I'm going to be doing is putting the back onto the back of the cubbies. So if you made sure that these grooves aligned between the right and the left panels and the bottom, this back panel should be able to just slide right down into all the grooves, making sure you get it into the right and left sides and down into the bottom panel. So what we'll do is we'll take this back panel, and then it should be able to just slide right down, and again making sure it gets into this bottom groove. So sometimes you do have to push it down just a little bit until it goes down as far as it can. Next, what we're going to be doing is putting on the front trim. Now this front trim piece is going to extend from the right through the middle to the left. So when you're putting it on, we're going to be screwing on this front trim into all 3 places. Now when looking at the front trim, you're going to see the screw holes. One side is going to have the indented screw hole. This is the side you're going to be screwing the screw through going into each of these panels. So first what I'm going to do is get the screw to help hold this panel into place here. And then we'll screw it down in all 3 locations. For step 4, you need part H, the top, 6 of the I screws, and 6 of the plastic inserts. Next, what we're going to be doing is putting the top onto the toy cubby. First, what we're going to be doing is putting those plastic inserts into each of these panels that we already have put into place. This way, when we put the top on and we screw down, those screws will go through these plastic inserts to hold them. So what we want to do, again, having the Phillips screwdriver appearance facing out so you can turn them if needed, and we're going to put them in to each panel like so. And then I'm going to repeat with the other two panels, putting in those last 4 inserts just facing upwards, so when the bolts go down or the screws go down, they go through these plastic inserts. So next we're going to put the top on into place here. When looking at the underside of the top, you're going to see this groove here. This is where this back panel needs to go into this groove, so there's a tight fit between the top and then these panels. So we're going to have that groove facing down and to the back. And sometimes you kind of have to shimmy it on here a little bit so that you know that this groove got the panel to go in through it. Once you got the back into that groove, then it should be a tight fit between this top panel and all the side panels. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to screw going down in all 6 locations. And that concludes the assembly for the 2-bin stackable storage cubby. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns, to please contact Badger Basket as shown in the next clip. Badger Basket thanks you for watching and enjoy. Step 5 is an optional step and can be used if you purchase multiple bins, which are sold separately, to attach them together for safety reasons. If so, please follow this step 5 completely. For this step, you will need 2 of part M, which are the metal brackets, and 4 of part N, which are the small screws. So in this step, I'm going to show you how to properly attach 2 cubbies together when you buy multiple bins. So now, what we want to do is you'll want to find these 2 little holes in the back. This is from my top cubby, which you will see sitting on top here, and the bottom cubby. Now it's important when you put the top cubby on that you have these brackets to the outside of the upper edge, so that this can't go left or right. Also, you're going to pull this cubby back as far as you can, because there's a lip in the front that'll keep this cubby from going back too far. So when it's back as far as it can and it's centered, then we're going to want to put those brackets into place. Now these metal brackets should align with the hole on the top cubby and the hole on the bottom cubby, like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these small screws, one going into the very top hole and one going into the very bottom hole, to hold these metal brackets into place. Now for this, I do have to use a little bit of a smaller screwdriver, a smaller one than I used in the previous steps, just because these screws are smaller. So what we're going to do is we're going to screw in the top one and repeat the same thing for this bottom one. Then we're going to repeat this whole step on the other side so that these cubbies are held into place on both sides in the back.